Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about building this porch bed swing. It holds a twin size mattress. It's 76 inches long, 39 inches wide. If you're interested in building one of these, stay tuned and I'll show you step by step how I did it. We get started by building the frame. The frame is built out of two 2x4s at 76 inches long and 5 2x4s at 36 inches long. I use my square to make sure everything is squared up, and I put 2 screws in each ends, and that's what I'm doing here. Now I'm using some of the leftover 2x4s to cut 45s and use as braces. And that's what I'm doing with these. I'm putting them on the corners just to help support the swing and hold it together better. After we get the frame built, I lay it on a sheet of 1/2 inch plywood to trace around it to get the exact size of the plywood. And now I can run the plywood through my table saw and get it to the width and the length that I need. After we cut the plywood, we're going to start with the frame surround pieces. You want a back piece, and it's going to be a 1x8 at 76 inches long, and 2 side pieces that are 1x8 by 36 3/4 inches long, and your front piece is going to be a 1x8 by 84 inches long. And the front is longer so we can put the detail on the sides and it'll stick over, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. And you want to just screw these in with deck screws. And the reason the sides are 36 3/4 is because you want the edges to show on the back instead of on the sides. Now we want to put our detail on the front, and you'll see how I do that with a roll of tape is what I use to get the round design. And you can just put this any way you want, whatever way looks best to you. I just move the tape around to get the design I want, and then I cut it out with my jigsaw. After you cut the first side, use the cutoff piece to go to the next side and trace around it, and that way both your sides will be the same. Now we can start on our backrest supports, and we want to cut these at 21 inches long. I'm just using a 5/4 deck board, and you cut them 21 inches long, and you need 6 of them. And here in a minute I'll show you how to cut the angles out on these. This is the template I used for the backrest supports. And you can see how it looks on a board after it's drawn out. And then when you get ready to cut these, you just lay a piece of scrap wood along one of the lines and nail it down, and then run it through your table saw. If you have a router table, you can take one of your cut backrest supports and lay it on top of the next 21-inch board, and you just temporary nail it down, and you can run it along the router and cut them all that way. If you don't have a router table, the easiest way to do it is just trace around them and just keep nailing the piece of plywood, the scrap plywood, onto the next piece and running it through the table saw. Not all of them are going to come out exactly the same, so what I did is I put them all together with a clamp and just sanded them all down to the same thickness and the same angles. That way everything will line up perfectly. And now I'm just putting them on the back. I put 3 screws in each one from the inside of the swing, and the board that you see laid on top is just to get them all at the same height. This keeps them all level and at the right angles. After you have all the backrest supports on, you want to put your backrest flats on, and I cut these at 76 inches long, and they should come all the way to the edge of each support on the left and right. And the way you space these is just use some scrap 1/2-inch plywood to stick in between them, and it should come out just right when you get to the top. The top piece is just a 1x3 that I routed the edge with a round over bit. Now we move on to making the arm supports. You want to make 8 of these. They're 1x4s at 14 inches long, and you just cut one at 14 and then put it on top of the next one to get the spacing right. That's what I'm doing here. This makes it easier. You don't have to measure each one. And after you get all 8 of those cut, you want to cut 4 pieces at 6.5 inches long, and this is for your little triangle pieces that are going to go on the arm supports. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. Now you see me marking a line through the 6.5-inch pieces from corner to corner, and this is how you get your triangles. You want to be careful if you're cutting these with a miter saw like I am. Just use a piece to hold it down like I'm doing there. To attach these, I just draw a line down the center and line it up to the top like you see on these, and just put 2 screws in the back of it to hold it in. And I'm putting the level on top of all of them to get them all lined up at the top. You want to make sure they're perfectly lined or your arm won't sit flat on them. And I put 3 screws in each one towards the bottom. That way the screws don't come through where your mattress is. For the arms, I did those off camera. It's just a piece of decking board, and I laid the piece up there to get the length right that I wanted. And then I cut an angle on the back as you see there, and you screw it into the backrest. That way it holds everything together. If you lean up against the back, it's not going to pull loose. These arms keep it tight and secure. Same thing on the other end. And then each little triangle piece has a screw through the bottom. You want to drill a pilot hole first. If you don't, it's going to crack the triangle, and that's what holds the arm on. There it is, all finished. If you're going to build this, let me know in the comments how it went. And thank you everyone for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.